Yo, what's up guys? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. Hope everybody's having a good day, and I've got another action-packed kill confirmed here on Fringe for you guys. The best map in the game. But anyway, that's not what this is about. And now, as you guys know, in my previous video, I was talking about how basically we can bring back the Call of Duty franchise from its decline, and how we can basically both please Activision in the way of doing so, and making them happy as well as the community overall. So if you guys want to hear about that in depth, I highly recommend you check out my last video. But this video here sort of kind of relates to that, but it's its own topic at the same time. But you guys will understand how it relates, and how this is almost like a part 2 to that video. But we all, I guess you can say that the community for the most part hates supply drops, especially when it becomes pay to win. But as long as it's cosmetic, then it's definitely not so bad. But I believe that supply drops can actually unite the PlayStation and the Xbox community and bring cross-platform play to consoles. Now, at least from a Call of Duty standpoint. Now, whether or not they, granted, if this were to happen, whether or not they would take that to other games or every game for that matter, is simply a matter of time, and it's a matter of money, because you guys know it's all about money, and that's how these things go and how it works. And money talks is the term, and it's definitely true. And as you guys know, from supply drops, they made $1 billion in profits from Black Ops 3, right? Okay. Now, I'm not saying they're going to make the same amount of profit per game, but in my previous video, I mentioned how they need, one of the ways to do it, or one of the steps to do it, is to bring back every Call of Duty to backwards compatibility and make it playable by getting it patched, right? And then obviously they'd be satisfied and they'd be getting paid by charging us, let's say, a yearly subscription, which is very similar to, maybe not as expensive, but very similar to the way Xbox does to use Xbox Live Gold, and the way PlayStation does to use PS Plus, and you guys know how it goes. But anyway, that was a long story short. Now, what if they brought back cosmetic, and I'm using the words cosmetic here, cosmetic supply drops, basically like the way they're doing with Modern Warfare Remastered now, cosmetic supply drops to every previous Call of Duty game from COD 4 all the way up through Black Ops 2 from backwards compatibility, as well as the games themselves being patched. Now, obviously, for it to work, they would kind of have to do what I mentioned in my previous video, patch the old games up and re-release them backwards compatibility, and even release them backwards compatibility for both systems. But with the amount of money that they make from those supply drops on an annual basis, I think that would provide a lot of money for their pockets personally, for Activision, right? And at the same time, give them even more money, so that way maybe we could bring cross-platforming to both consoles. I think if the way they would do it is, I'm not a genius at this, but the only way that I could see this happening is if Activision were to work somehow with Microsoft. Obviously, they can get this done, at least from a Call of Duty standpoint. And then when Sony, to my knowledge, from all the research I've seen and read on, is that Microsoft is pretty much extending their hand to Sony, but Sony hasn't said yes yet. So it's a matter of time, or maybe they just don't want to right now, or maybe they just don't want to, period. But if this were to make as much money as it could possibly make, and the numbers are obviously in the billions, okay, per year, then wouldn't that be enough money, not to just satisfy Activision, but in their pockets, and they like to make as much money as possible, but to also dish out money, along with have some sort of a collaboration with Microsoft, and to get this going, and to kind of extend their hand to Sony, at least from a Call of Duty standpoint. And then after that, once they see that it does well for Call of Duty, hey, maybe we can just make cross-platforming for all games. I mean, wouldn't that be cool? Excuse me. The community has been wanting this for a while, and the Call of Duty community as well. And obviously, there's more politics that plays into that when it comes to specific games like Halo and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, you're basically opening up a whole bunch of opportunities when you do that. I mean, At the most, at least I mean, at the least, we can make this from a Call of Duty standpoint. But there's a whole bunch of politics that go into that, and there's the whole competition factor, and competition is kind of what kind of makes everything happen and what keeps everything going. And it's like, Sony or Microsoft, and even though Sony has the upper hand this year, Microsoft's getting better. But even though Sony has the upper hand this year, or actually ever since the console's been released, they've been having the upper hand overall. There is a competition thing going on, and the thing is, if you stop the whole competitive scene, then it pretty much eliminates purpose for a whole bunch of other things. So, I don't know. It's a very, very unique thing. I personally think, at least from a COD perspective, we can make this happen, and it could at least open the doors and the possibilities for other things as far as cross-platforming play. I mean, maybe they can do a specific contract or something like that, like say, hey, we could do cross-platforming play except for our but only for third-party games instead of our console exclusives or something like that. I mean, that's fair. I don't see how that's a problem, really. Because I don't think games like Halo will ever go to PlayStation, or God of War ever coming to Xbox One. Can it happen? Sure. If they wanted to, they could do it. But again, there's the whole competition factor. So at least for a limited basis, the limit being Call of Duty and third-party games, we can make cross-platforming happen. It's a way to make it happen. It's a way to generate money for the companies, as well as the possibility of making this happen, because it all happens with money. That's the way to do it. Money does talk, really, especially in this kind of industry and in the business. So you want to catch people's attention, and you want to make a proposal. Well, you can't have empty pockets. It's simple as that. You got to be able to provide. So, and that's how it all starts. For them to at least listen and go into in depth on this conversation, there has to be money involved, and supply drops is the ticket to make that happen. And releasing cosmetic supply drops is the way to make it happen. Now, I do not like supply drops. I'm going to say this again. I do not like supply drops. But I do not see a problem with supply drops if they are cosmetic only. Like, the only kind of weapons, in my opinion, that should be in supply drops are melee weapons, and that's it. As annoying as they are, melee weapons are fine. Because it only takes one hit with the melee weapon to kill you. Unless you're doing bare hands, and it takes two. But, that's it. And that's where the limit should be. Melee weapons, camos, customization to make your soldier look a certain way without overdoing it or whatnot. Something like that. That's fine. It doesn't change the gameplay. It doesn't take the balance out of the game. It doesn't mess with that. And it's not pay to win. But people love that, and people will drop money for it. I mean, I personally wouldn't, but there are obviously through the numbers and through time and the things that we've seen what supply drops can do, but people will spend money on this stuff. Seriously, they literally will. So if they were to make, let's say, I don't know, 1/10 or 1/8 of what Black Ops 3 made per game, you add all that up, that's like what, 10 games, 8 games, or 9 games per year. That kind of money is something that you can literally make something happen. And I think both parties can profit from this as long as it's done correctly. Like I said, it could be limited to Call of Duty, it could be limited to just third-party games, and we can leave the console exclusives for the games themselves. And we'll see. I mean, the consoles themselves they have more in common now than ever. There's very, very little things as right now in terms of what makes the consoles so different. When you look at the Xbox 360 compared to PlayStation 3, they were pretty damn different in comparison. In more ways than they are now. So there you go. So there's definitely incentive to be had here to give this a shot and to see what happens. And again, if you were to make this happen, at least you can limit it, and you can set certain boundaries in order to keep the competition factor going, because competition is healthy for business. When you limit the competition and you're the only one left, well, on one hand, some people may think that it's healthy because you're the only one and you've conquered it and you're going to be taking all profits, but at the same time, it's harder. There's a give and take. It's harder to draw in new business or something like that. So, but anyway, I thought I'd make this video and kind of complete the conversation about how we can improve everything. So what is your opinion on this? Should we find another way to do it other than supply drops, or do you guys think that supply drops, the profits from supply drops themselves can be used to create something good for the community as well? And again, Activision's pockets will definitely be full if they were to bring this to fruition, because supply drops, cosmetic or not, make money, and they know it, and that's why it's been in every Call of Duty since Advanced Warfare. Simple as that. So anyway, guys, so since we're not getting rid of supply drops, might as well use them for something good to give the community, right? So there you have it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video in the commentary. What are your opinions, or what do you have any ideas or anything like that, or what would you guys think, or are you guys completely opposed to the idea of having cross-platform play? Let me know. To my knowledge, the community is all for it, but you know, you can always let it be known down in the comment section. So, and as always, guys, if you like the video, let me know, and if you don't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.